now. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, I think it is. So I just wanted to come and do after my hospital stay type video. So if you want to know what's been going on since then, stay tuned. All right, I gotta hurry up because my long guy is here. He's gonna start cutting the grass in a second. So, surgery's done. I'm feeling good. I'm at home. So what happened, right? I know in my last video I did like a day-to-day how it was going that day, but it was not much detail, right? So essentially the surgery was a success, okay? And by that meaning most of my complications came as other things. For example, my blood sugar was high, my heart rate was high, and I wasn't, with the inability to handle, I think, anesthesia. I think I did have a reaction to anesthesia, which made me nauseous after surgery. Upon waking up, you know, you're drowsy, you're in and out. So other than those things and exacerbating the issue were my complications. Nothing about the gastric bypass in hindsight was the issue. And what I mean is because really by day 1 or 2 I was able to do more than sip. I could sip more, so it was working, you know, very well. I can get my liquids in. The issue was holding those liquids down the first 2 days, and I could not. Why? I think because they tell you to sip, 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 right? And then all of a sudden they bring you a tray of liquids for your meals. And it's like, okay, I just drank sip, sip, sip water, and now it's time to get some chicken broth, beef broth, whatever they have on your tray, apple juice, popsicle, and it's like, you know, you're afraid to get dehydrated, so you try these multiple items and it just didn't mix well, and I was already full from the sipping on the water, and it just, I think once I got hold of, okay, I'm not going to sip until after I have my meal of clear liquids at the time, then okay, my stomach started to settle and I was able to hold things down. Now once I was able to hold things down, you know, I'm like, I'm good, I can go home, right? Well, my blood sugar was high. I'm a diabetic, so that's understandable. They gave me insulin. So once the blood sugar got in control, well, all week my heart rate was right around 125, 129, which they could tell my resting heart rate was usually 96, you know, 95. So there was concern. So they thought, well, maybe there's a leak, maybe there's a blockage, something's going on. Why is her heart rate so high? I had to have a CAT scan, and I had to have an upper GI test. Those tests proved that I did not have a blockage and I had no leakage. That's not why my heart rate was up. So I had to stay another day because they were concerned and didn't want me to go home and have to return. I understand now, but at the time I was ready to go. I was ready to go once I stopped, you know, once I could hold down the liquids, I was ready to go, you know. But after calming me down, because I was like, day 5, I was ready to go home. And they had to calm me down and, like, please, just let us, figure it out. This is just for your best interest. We don't want you to leave against medical advice. And so I did, especially after they said if you leave against medical advice, then insurance doesn't pay. So we don't want that, okay? So I stayed, and they said, okay, we notice your hemoglobin, red blood count is low. We're gonna give you a blood transfusion in order to get some blood in your system, get enough blood in your system, and then that'll lower your heart rate. But of course, everything you have to be stick, right? I still have a bruise here from being stuck so many times. I am what's considered a hard stick, which means several times they had to bring in specialists, several times, and then the last time they brought in an ultrasound to find a vein for them to put another IV in. So I had an IV here up until I thought I was going to leave, and then I had to have another one placed in here, a special one, to get the blood transfusion. So it was a hard week, and everything takes 2 to 3 hours to get done. Okay, so once they said I need a blood transfusion, well, you gotta have a test to find out what blood type you are. Okay, they take 2 hours to come. You know what I mean? And the nurses, God bless their heart, they move when they move as fast as they can. They got 10 patients, So it's a very slow process, very slow, to the point where you're just sick of being in the bed. That last day, I think I got the best sleep because I slept on the couch. I laid my head on my duffel bag and just, leaned over and slept like a baby. So it was an ordeal. It was an ordeal. So they found out my blood type, gave me the blood transfusion, and I would say probably within 4 to 6 hours, my heart rate started to decrease enough to where they were like, okay, well, we think we can release you, so we'll call in a heart specialist to just make sure that, your heart is, good, and there's nothing going on. Now, mind you, my bypass is good. I'm eating full liquids at this point. It's good. The bypass is working. This is just other stuff. Again, it was just like, what's going on? And then, so it's just an unplanned experience. Not everyone is going to have that same experience. For example, this is my personal experience. I've always had issue. I could have an issue going to the dentist, getting the tooth pulled, and have to have antibiotics because my body is just hard-headed, got to do things the hard way. So after I saw the heart specialist, which took 2 to 3 hours, he okayed everything and did an EKG. Everything looked good. It was at that point he okayed it, and they started the discharge process. And at that point, it had been 6 days. Now, hindsight. Had I went home earlier that week, I would have been sick at home. I think it's good that I stayed that long, because when I got home, I didn't go to my mom's like I was planning on. I felt strong enough to come home. and just take care of myself, get in a routine, get into starting my process of just, you know, cooking for myself, you know, doing what I need to do for me. So I appreciated the long stay in the end. Now, if you have any questions regarding any of this, drop them down below. Thanks for listening. Video was long enough. Talk to you guys later.